Okay, people, this is the third video for the capping process or the HIPP process for analysis and reasoning point 1 of the 2020 DBQ rubric. Remember, it's going to be helpful if you are looking at the rubric to follow along. As a reminder, this is 2 possible analysis and reasoning points for your 10-point DBQ rubric. They're not easy points to get, but they are very achievable. And now that the DBQ rubric has been adjusted, you can get these points by doing one document for 1 point and another document for another point. Before, you had to do 3 documents, all or nothing, for 1 point. Makes it a lot easier for you to get there. In this video, we are going to look at audience. In previous videos, we looked at context. In another video, we looked at point of view. I will do one more video as well for purpose, but for now, let's look at audience. The reason we're doing audience after point of view is because they go hand in hand so well. And it's one of those that are kind of elusive for a lot of students. We struggle with this particular one because we just make some broad assumptions about things. So before we get into how to do it, let's just reread that part of the rubric to understand what we're looking at here. To earn this point, the response must explain how or why the document's audience is relevant to an argument about the prompt for each of the documents sourced. So if I'm going to tackle the audience for document 6, for example, or in this case it wouldn't be 6, there's only 5 docs, it would be doc 4. I'm going to identify who the audience is and why it matters that this document is targeting this particular group of people. Okay? So, common errors. The most common error is going too broad with your audience. And a great example of this would be to say that the audience is the public or the citizens of X country, or the audience is the world. That is wrong. You have failed miserably. You should be ashamed of yourself and your family. You have brought shame upon them for 10 generations. Good job. Okay? Do not do that. If you identify the audience as the public or the citizens, then you should know in your head, I'm not getting that point. I'm not getting that analysis reasoning point. There's no chance. Okay? So I'm going to look at a document or 2 from our DBQ on imperialism from the Unit 6 exam and kind of help you identify what these are. This is available on PowerSchool if you want to follow along, but you should be somewhat familiar with it. So let's take a look at an easy one that a lot of people try to do audience. They said, document 1, Benjamin Disraeli, British Prime Minister, speech to the House of Commons. Speech 2. Wow, that must mean the audience is the House of Commons. Okay, fantastic. You gave me the information that was already given to you in the sourcing information already, so 0 points. Okay, you can't just say that the audience is the House of Commons, because so what? You didn't demonstrate that you know what the House of Commons is, first of all. And second of all, you haven't told me anything that I don't already know insofar as demonstrating your ability to think about why that might matter. So let's look at this one. Why would it matter that the Prime Minister, the chief political officer of the country of England, is talking to the House of Commons, which is one of the primary legislative bodies in British Parliament? So British Parliament is their governing, their lawmaking body. It's composed of the House of Lords and the House of Commons. That means these people that he's talking to are the people that write and pass laws and policy for the country. Okay? So in order to do that, or in order to get his agenda done, the Prime Minister needs to talk in a certain way about certain things that interest or appeal to the people who are ministers of Parliament, MPs, within the House of Commons. Okay, so you can't just say it's the House of Commons. Again, that's too broad. That's not anything new, and it doesn't demonstrate that you understand why that matters. I want to illustrate this point using what I did for the point of view in the previous video when I identified myself from the point of view of the AP World teacher. Okay, Now, let's do this by way of the audience. Who am I talking to in this video? Who is watching this video? Now, my dad could watch this video. My elderly neighbor down the road could watch this video. It's available online. It's public access. But are they my audience? No. Is my 3-year-old son my audience? No. He's upstairs eating lunch. And if he were to watch this video, would he understand what I'm saying and necessarily get the message that I'm intending? No. The audience is primarily composed of AP World students. Okay, and even more specifically, AP World students in my class or enrolled at Eastlake High School in particular. Okay, those are the people who are most likely going to click the link to watch this video because they think it will help them understand how to write audience for the analysis reasoning point for the DBQ for the 2020 AP World exam. Great. Okay, why does it matter that this video is for AP World students at Eastlake or in Menenberg's class? Why does it matter? It matters because I am talking in a specific way, using specific language and specific materials or resources like the DBQ rubric, because I know that my audience, you people, understand that stuff. Moreover, you need to understand that stuff. And so your attention or your engagement with this material as audience members is higher than my 3-year-old kid who would want to watch the Baby Shark video instead. Okay, he's not going to listen, right? He's not going to pay attention. He's not going to get anything out of this video other than saying, oh, that's daddy. That's daddy. Okay, that's nothing. That's not, it's cute, but it's nothing helpful in terms of what I'm trying to do as the point of, from the perspective of the author or the speaker. So if I'm looking at any document on DBQ, you got to understand, like, how is it being received and by whom is it being received? That is why it matters that the audience is X. Because if it's just random people or this broad group of humanity, then the intended message that the author is going for is going to fall flat. It's not going to be effective. So you need to tell us that you understand what the message is, right? That's going to tie into purpose, by the way, but you're going to understand what the message is and how it's going to be received by this specific group of people. So if you're doing a document, like let's say we're looking at this French governor in, I don't know, where was it, West Africa? French Equatorial Africa. Okay, if he was talking to African people in Africa versus French people who are going to Africa to colonize, his message would be very different, wouldn't it? So we have to use our deductive reasoning to look between the lines in this document to kind of figure out who he's talking to. The source information will give you a little, but you need to figure out why it matters who he's talking to and what is it that he is saying that is going to have a different impact on, you know, how it's received. And so that is what we're doing with audience. If it's me taking this test, audience is one of those letters that I'm going to shy away from most times. It's not worth, if you're going to tackle point of view, tackling audience at the same time makes sense. But just doing audience, too often I see students go for like the world or the citizens or the public or the everyone in the country of England. That is not the audience, most likely. Okay? Try to identify stakeholders, people that care about this issue, people who are directly listening to or reading this item. So if it's a newspaper article, well, who at this time might be reading the newspaper? Who might be reading, period? It's not everyone. Not everyone's picking up a newspaper. Not everyone's going to have an interest in this particular subject matter. So you got to think about who might be doing so and think about why that would tie into my argument, right? Okay? All right, I think that's about it for this one. Again, if you have questions or more specific examples that we need to address, we'll do that for sure. But let's look at this. Our next video will be on our purpose. Okay, thank you, people. Talk to you soon.